Right, a Citroen C4 Picasso 2013, and we have a fault with these little puppies here. They're called windscreen wipers, and for some reason they won't switch off, amongst a few other things on the car. We have a couple of airbag faults and a few random little things, but the main thing is these wipers just don't go off. You can start the car and whatever you do with this switch, completely inoperative. They don't go on full, they don't go off, the washer jets are not working. The rear wiper we do have control of, so I can turn that on and turn it off. The rear squirter is not working, but the wiper is. But yeah, these front ones, no matter what I do, ignition on, ignition off, running, we can take the key out and we can lock the car, and they just go on and on and on. I think eventually they might shut off overnight, but yeah, permanently on. So what we're going to do, as usual, we're going to scan the car. So we need the ignition back on, and we're going to do a full scan, and we're going to see what we've got. And tonight I'm using the Autel MS909. It's a good tool, use it quite a bit. And the reason I'm using it for this is once we get hooked up, got a bit of light on the screen. Let me see if I can change that. That's better. Got the light off the screen. So automatic selection finds the VIN really quickly. Tells us what it is. Now we're going to do an auto scan. This is the reason I like the Autel on this. You look at all of these computers and a lot of scanners slowly scroll through, and it takes an age to do it. Well, we're going to do a fault scan on this, and look how quick this is. This is real time. I am not fast forwarding this. This is as quick as it comes. It's just brilliant. When it gets to electronic steering control lock, I believe it's called, it's going to ask us to switch the ignition off. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Ignition off. Ignition back on. And it's scanned. We have a fault in the airbags, but we're not going to be concentrating on that tonight. Controls under the steering wheel has a code, so we're going to have a quick look at that one. The transponder, that's another thing. The proximity key is not working, but again, that's not the major thing. It's always done that. The customer's not complained about that. The thing that we're interested in is here in the BSI. Trouble codes. Not really sure error information is lost. We have been clearing fault codes, not sure about that. Fault in the brake lamp, again, we're going to look into that later on. It's not what we're interested in tonight, but this one here, U1F3A. No communication with windscreen wiper motors. Well, that could have something to do with the wipers not switching off. So now we're going to go back and we're going to check for those components. Now, we have a left front wiper motor, which we have comms with. Now this one here is the wiper motor right front. No comms, it's grey, it's shaded out. So left front wiper motor, Motev UDS. I believe that's the master wiper motor, Motev UDS, and this one, well, it doesn't know what it is because it can't communicate with it. This one doesn't have any fault codes in it. We can get the data from the front left. It's a Bosch component. There's the part numbers. Live data, we can't really get a lot of fault codes or anything from it. They're on the LIN bus. If we go back, we can see they're not a CAN bus unit. We can reset them, but we don't need to go through the reset procedure because we only have comms with one of them. So we can see on here, on the scanner, it's connected via the pink line. Now if we go down here, we'll see the pink line is LIN. I believe LIN is single wire, I'm not sure, I'll check up actually, it might be twin wire. It's similar to CAN bus anyway, it's communication. K line is single wire. Going to check on a wiring diagram, see what we've got. We're going to take them out and have a play. We're going to see what we can find wrong with these, which means we've got to strip down the wiper motors. Scuttle panel's going to have to come off, bonnet's got to come up, wiper's got to come off, and let's get that stripped out and see what type of job that is. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect the battery because I've got to undo the wipers here and here to take them off, and although they've stopped at the minute, they can come back on at any time. So first thing I'll do is pop the battery terminal off. So, and now I'm safe to take the wipers off. I've got the weather strip, I suppose you call it that, off. I've got these two little end pieces off that just fit on here, either side. Wipers are up now. There's just I believe it was a 16mm nut that holds them on. Bit of a wriggle, they come off. Just thought I'd show you this bit. Now this trim really needs to come off. It's a press fit down here. So what I'm doing, I'm sliding my hand underneath and just popping it up. It doesn't come off too badly, just up like so, all the way across, and out it pops. With a little bit of a wriggle. She's off, put that on the pile, and that gives us access now to the motors. This is the front left motor, I assume. This is one that is communicating, and this is one that isn't communicating. I believe that one is a master motor, which controls this other side. I'm not too sure about that, but let's pull them to bits and see what we can find. Right, I've got the wipers off now. They're just held on with a couple of 10mm captive screws either side. Pulled them up. There's the multi-plug on the bottom, and we've got what appears to be the same size multi-plug on that side. Now, sadly, I don't have a full wiring diagram for this because I'd like to check continuity in the wiring between there and the BSI. That's a long, drawn-out process at best. What I'm going to do, I'm going to unplug them and swap them over. What could possibly go wrong? See if we get communication with the same wiper motor again, and see what happens. And if needs be, we're going to pull them to bits and see what's inside them. Battery's back on again. Wipers were going away. Now I've unplugged the front left. I've left the front right plugged in. Just done another scan, and now we can see we have now no comms with the front left and still no comms with the front right. So we're going to get the non-working one. We're going to plug that into the other side. Prop that camera up. It's still moving, still working. Let's pull that off. And let's see if it fits the other side. Right, I've now got it plugged in. Let's see if we've got any comms with it. Another full scan. Well, now we have the right one is now talking. Got to let it go through its scan. Ignition off. Ignition on. So the wiper which wasn't talking is now talking, although it's plugged into the left hand side. So it looks like it's got an identity rather than wiring. Let's plug the other one in the other side and see what that leads us to find. Let's plug this little baby in here. So now we've got them both plugged in. They're not going. Do another quick scan, just for giggles. Still the left one is not communicating, so the right one is, and now the left one isn't. So with them reversed, we still have one of them not talking. Now we have trouble codes. So we seem to have the master unit now, which is the right hand side one plugged into the left, is the master unit. So I was wrong, it wasn't the left one. So we have all these fault codes here. We can erase the fault codes. Actually, we're not going to erase them. We're going to keep them so we can see what they are. Fault in wiping reference value, fault in communication between windscreen wiper motors. So they're not talking to each other. Wiper controls mechanical fault locking. Okay, remember they are all over the place because they've been taken off and no wipers on. Okay, control not started. Right, I wonder what happens now if we flick the switch. So from here, I'm going to turn the wipers on, see what happens. Still nothing, switch is still dead. But this one is now talking to the car, whereas it doesn't talk to the car when it's plugged in that side. That side talks when it's over here, being the slave unit. So to me, at this point, it looks like a wiring fault. So looks like I'm not going to rip these little puppies to bits. Going to be checking the wiring out, which is going to be a awfully long job, which nearly made me swear on YouTube. Never mind, let's see what happens. Now here's a funny thing. Always the best things happen off camera. I just cleared the codes in the BSI, which had the wiper communication fault. That is now cleared. And we now turn the wipers on. And look, that one's working. And that one's working. What about that? Turn them off. And they go off. Like the squirters. Ugh, the squirters are working again. So, where does that lead us? Well, when it's communicating through the other wires, the system's happy. So it's getting comms, so again, it looks like it's a wiring fault. Where does that lead us? What about the faults in the wiper motor? Now we've got comms with it. And we've cleared the BSI codes. Let's have a look. Let's erase the codes. No codes detected. But we still have no comms with that dodgy motor. Right, we're getting down with the nitty-gritty of this now. I've removed the wiring loom out from the scuttle panel and brought it up to here so we can make a bit more sense out of what's going on. As predicted, I don't have a wiring diagram on Autodata Online or anywhere else, so I've got to make my own one up, something I really hate doing. First thing to find is the ground line. Conveniently, household electricians will like this. They've made it green and yellow, so by touching that on there and finding a good earth, oh, it's plastic cars these days. Oh, here's a little bit of metal. Continuity tester shows we have continuity with earth there, and then logically, because one of the motors was working in that side, it's not in this side, we should have continuity in all these plugs. So check for continuity in that one. Yes, we do. We then need to find the voltage wire, the main voltage wire, which I don't have to bother telling you, it's the other grey one there. I've checked that, it's got 12 volt power, and load tested it and it's all nice and bright. So with the continuity tester, these are very big plugs, we're not going to damage them by pushing in these little leads. There we have continuity again, so we know those two are okay. This third one, we're going to go for that one as well, and again we have continuity. So that leaves the very last lead, which is conveniently a different colour. So tester into there, tester into there, we have no continuity. So to me it looks like a break in the wire. Now we know that this is the no, this is the master side, this is the slave side, but this is the good side, this is the bad side. So we're going to have to find where the break in the wire is there. So I've traced the wires back, and I found they go to this blue wire here. Now with the wire in number 4 there, and we can just put a little pierce in here, and we have no continuity. Let's do it as a proper back probe. So this is how a back probe should be used. Push it in the back, check, make sure we've got it live. Yes, we have. So we know that is now connected to the blue wire. There we have continuity. So we have a break in the wire somewhere, which this is the red one. Which one is it? This one is the red one here. There we have continuity, but we don't with the blue. So it didn't take much finding. Conveniently, I came round here and I found this little broken wire here. As usual with wiring, it'll happen around where bends are. Where are we? Yeah, it'll happen where bends are in the wiring. So that little blue wire there needs to be reconnected, which I'm going to make it just a very temporary repair and see if we get continuity, and then we'll look at fixing it properly. So here we have the 2 back probes in on that 4th wire, and with good old faithful 30-year-old multimeter, we see we have no continuity. Now with this broken wire here, the continuity tester there. Whoop. Don't break on me now, you're nearly as old as me. You're older than my mechanic. Touch these together and now we have continuity. So all we've got to do is put a nice connector on there, tape it all back together, get it back together, and we'll see if the wipers work. Right, we could either solder this connector and put heat shrink on it. Just for speed, I like to use these connectors. They're actually crimp connectors, but they're thermoset ones, so they're nice and watertight when they're done. Just prepare the wire, put it on, crimp it down, make sure it's tight. Do the same on the other side. Push it all the way in. Crimp it down. These are the only tools to use on these. Brilliant little things. once we made sure that's connected tightly, we then get a hot air gun and we do the next stage. There's your connector. This is what we're going to use to heat it up with. It's just I rode a soldering iron with a gas blower on it. Right, that's going to pump some heat out onto it. There we have a nice watertight seal. I like to nip them down a little bit, get them good and proper on the wires. And whoops, there we go. She's all done. Let's tape it up, get it back together. So we are all reassembled again. Give you a couple of tips. If you remove your wipers and put them back on the car, before you put them back on the car, operate your wipers one time and make sure they're in the park position before fitting your wipers. It makes a big mess if you get them out of sync. And also with these, the best thing to do is put one wiper on to start with, operate it, make sure it's okay, then put the other one on. Because if you get them slightly out, they do collide. And if you're working on one of these, watch out for this monstrosity here. How many times did I bang my head working on this car, making this video? I mean, come on, there's no need. Absolutely no need, Mr. Citroen designer man. It's just worth a like and a share for how many times I've banged my head on it. Ay. Anyway, time for final test. Let's see what we got now. We will, actually we don't need to start it up. We will just have the ignition on. Ignition's on, and let's try the wipers. We have wipers now. Let's start her up and see if we've got proper wipers. So we have clutch away. I'll put the wipers on. 1 speed, 2 speeds, 3 speeds, and give them a squirt. We have squirt now. Back squirt is working as well. And that was all because of a broken wire that links the 2 front wiper motors. How crazy is that? Right, so last thing to do is get on the old scanner again. Let's give it a full scan. Right, so as you can see now, we have the live data as before. And the one that we didn't have communication with is this one. We have some fault codes in there, so we'd like to clear those out. Erase the codes. Yes, we do. Code's not detected. Go back out of the system. And we're there. Could have a little play with the settings on it, but that's it for me for tonight. If you like this video, please click the like and share. It really means a lot to me when I see you hitting the like buttons and subscribing. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.